actually really quite difficult not to like Juan Engelbrecht. Juan has come up from South Africa. He's a global entrepreneur. He's the man who's going to tell you about blockchain payments, personalized economies, building the future of blockchain payment. Would you please welcome Juan Engelbrecht? Woohoo! Woohoo!
Hi guys, yesterday with a mimosa on the hand on a 80-foot yacht, it sounded like a good idea not to prepare. Play the video and just give a conclusion. Regret is real. I'm hoping it's going to buffer now, but prepared a short video for you guys. It very well summarizes what we do, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Thank you. You would love the boat yesterday. I was the boat would have corrected.
Regardless of where they are or who they are, meet Sarah, a fruit vendor in a remote village. Thanks to VORTX Capital, she's not just selling fruit.
Go back to the beginning. Go back.
Guys, while we're waiting, as Julie mentioned, I'm the CEO of VORTX Capital. We're a blockchain-based technology company. We sell a unique type of Web3 domains. Think of it as internet addresses. You can do a lot more than your typical website domains. And we have 3 very strong distribution channels to scale it to sell 1 billion of these domains globally. We're backed by the leading venture capital fund in our country. But I think the video is ready now. Thank you.
Imagine a world where financial services are within reach for everyone, regardless of where they are or who they are. Meet Sarah, a fruit vendor in a remote village. Thanks to VORTX Capital, she's not just selling fruit, she's transforming her life. In just 60 seconds, Sarah turns her mobile airtime into a digital passport to the global economy. She secures her identity and launches her thriving online fruit market. That's the magic of VORTX, a groundbreaking force in blockchain innovation, payments, and financial inclusion. VORTX is a tech trailblazer, leading the way in domains, payments, and e-commerce. Our Web3 domains are your gateway to the future, where you can create instant websites, securely hold your digital assets, eliminate costly intermediaries, access affordable financial services. Think of the blockchain as a powerful operating system, like Windows, but with no single point of failure. Developers from across the globe can build applications on it, opening up limitless possibilities. These Web3 domains offer true ownership, unlike traditional rented domains. They can serve as your bank account, business website, secure sign-in ID, guardian of online security and data privacy, bridge for peer-to-peer transactions. VORTX is all about selling Web3 domains, creating your online passport, and expanding through 3 distribution channels. Chi Wallet. Think of it as a super app like Paytm, instant personalized websites within 60 seconds. Imagine Shopify infused with artificial intelligence. Domain Pay. Picture TransferWise with unique simplified payment IDs for users. All these transactions take place on our cutting-edge blockchain network, Chi Blockchain, powered by its native currency, Chi. It facilitates microtransactions as small as $1. VORTX simplifies user onboarding. Even in remote areas where mobile airtime is king, people can boost their financial inclusion without cumbersome compliance. Picture John, a farmer in a remote village, topping up his mobile phone with airtime. With VORTX Capital's innovative technology, that airtime becomes a gateway to microloans. John can buy better seeds, increase his yield, and break free from the cycle of poverty. This transformational power is why mobile airtime, with its simplicity and accessibility, holds the key to unlocking the financial potential of 2 billion unbanked individuals. Just as Rolex sells status and not watches, VORTX sells accessibility, making financial services accessible to billions. VORTX, leading the charge toward a new financial system. Join us on this extraordinary journey toward a more inclusive financial future.
Okay, I'm going to try and touch on 5 or so slides, so just bear with me if I skip a few. We told the story of Sarah, how we can help Sarah. Our focus is Africa, although we remain a global company. But the technical problem Sarah faces is opening a bank account, and that is your access to the financial services and the global economy. Our unique domains give her that right, that opportunity. I know there's a lot of controversy around the blockchain topic, but if I may use a simple analogy, a blockchain with smart contract functionality can be seen like an operating system like Linux or Windows with no single point of failure. And any developer around the world can build their applications on it. We see like Stefan and they're focusing on real world assets, Roberto and the guys in the supply chain management. These are all applications that can be built on our layer 1 blockchain, very similar to Ethereum. The reason 2 billion people remain unbanked, several reasons. They require minimum fund, require monthly balance, within their fund. There's not always ATMs and branches available. It's costly to open a website for them to drive e-commerce, etc. And we solve that with see your domain as a bank account stored on the blockchain, effectively. Now, these domains, as I mentioned, can be used for several things. The most common thing to think of a domain is to start a website. We can do a lot more than that. You can store all your digital assets, from money, from your NFTs, from your gaming items. Everything can securely be stored on your ID, where you are effectively the decision maker and full control of your assets. Unlike a FTX, all these over 500 banks that went belly up from 2000. It also eliminates the costly intermediaries. If you think of decentralized financing, lending, trading, etc., all these processes can be automated with smart contract functionality. Just a key takeaway from Web 2 to Web 3. Web 2 is basically where powerhouses like Facebook, etc., own your data and you rent a domain from a company like GoDaddy. Web 3 is where you have the physical ownership of your domain. And once again, by way of analogy, think of a rental property. If you rent a property, you're not going to build $1 million pool on it. This allows new feature in the digital world. So we all know there's about 22,000 cryptocurrencies out there. Most of them can be seen as apps built on layer 1 blockchains. There's probably about 100 blockchains out there. Most common one with smart contract functionality is Ethereum. But the devil's always in the detail. And people don't realize how high the network fees on Ethereum are. Here's a clear apple for apple comparison. Doing a $1 transaction on Ethereum costs about $18 converted to USD. On our network, it's less than a fraction of a cent. Your digital ID can be used for so many things. We literally cover over 70% of all the functionality in the trillion-dollar blockchain industry. From decentralized exchanges, NFT marketplaces, blockchain-based games, wallets, etc. Your domain, your Web3 domain, can be used with anything in this ecosystem. All 80% of that is live, revenue generating, but any developer in the world can add applications to this ecosystem. I think this is the key focus. How will we scale these domains? That's the question every investor always asks. How do you scale your business? How do you get sales? We've got a wallet right now available on iOS and Android. Think of a Coinbase that IPO'd for $100 billion. Think of a Paytm super app, a place where you can buy, sell, store NFTs, cryptocurrencies, send and receive money, play blockchain-based game, etc. We've created an instant website builder. Think of Shopify, but with AI. As coming back to Sarah, think of Sarah giving the standard input to her tailored business, and within 60 seconds, our tech provide her with a fully operational website. Thirdly, domain pay. That is our payment solution. Very similar, think of TransferWise or XE, but using these domains as a payment ID or payment alias. India's UPI, South Africa, we got PaySharp recently. They tend to use email addresses or phone numbers as payment IDs. You're very dependent on those networks. You're restricted in geographic areas. And if you don't use this like your typical Ethereum clients, you have these long, confusing hexadecimal numbers. And that's where I see the biggest opportunity with guys like Roberto and Stefan and the guys. You can tailor and co-brand all these IDs to your clientele. Very high level, domain pay, back-end how it works. We provide the liquidity. So think of a transaction between all the daily transactions between Mozambique and South Africa. We provide the bank accounts in both jurisdictions, so there's no actual flow of funds. Let's say $800,000 with a net effect from South Africa to Mozambique and $500,000 from Mozambique to South Africa. The net effect for us is $300,000. We integrated with APIs of the banks, so we get lower rates, lower fees, first of all. But in terms of the Forex risk, there's no Forex risk because there's no transactions actually taking place. And we charge them a 1.3 million worth of transactions, whereby we just effectively transfer 300K. Traction, our wallet downloads have seen a tremendous growth. We've got over 127,000 wallets already downloaded in 4 odd months. Our daily volume on our blockchain, on our coin, has seen a high of almost $1 million per day. Our top gamers have made 15 times their money in 4 months. So we're seeing significant growth. Sorry, I'm struggling with the ticker a little bit. Like I mentioned, we're a global company. Our focus is Africa. I don't think I need to tell about a year how up and coming the young population is there and how resource rich the country is. I just like to mention this one quote that kind of stuck with me is, the world may have invented the watch, but Africa owns the time. And the UN believes that Africa will supersede Asia in terms of population by the year 2100. Just numbers, we all know the remittance market is a massive market. I can get 10 different stats with 10 different figures. Bottom line, it will be a massive market either way. So like I mentioned, we sell domains. One domain costs between $5 and $10, and that is half the current price at a typical GoDaddy with a lot more extra features. There's a resale market for the domains as well. Business.com sold for 350 million, coincidentally enough. Some of our key team members, Shabim, you can probably program in every language out there. We currently have around 150 developers globally, 4 teams. Louis is highly qualified as a guy can be in finance, both a chartered accountant and CIMA qualified. Dr. Jan Skritzinger is the CEO of the leading venture capital fund in our country, 4.6 billion fund. Seba, one of the lead players in Finastra, a listed company, They've got over 8,600 banks in the ecosystem. Very strong banking experience as well. A little bit by myself. 3 finance degrees. Was CEO of a large asset management company in South Africa. Started the largest crypto mining operation in the Southern Hemisphere. And been in the blockchain space ever since. So like most of us here, also capital raising. We secured $2 million from our lead VC, and we've got also angel investor from America. We're busy with $1 million round now, 50% of it's complete. We already actually have funds looking into the Series A, the next funding round, for busy with due diligence, data room ready, etc. If you don't trust my word for VORTX, ChatGPT states here clearly that Chi is one of the most promising blockchains out there. In the video it also mentions it, but I like to emphasize it. Rolex doesn't sell watches, they sell status. Harley Davidson doesn't sell bikes, they sell a lifestyle. We don't sell domains, we sell accessibility. Why now? I believe blockchain is very similar to the early days of the internet. People believed it was a fad, but if you truly understand what you can do with a system that takes out the intermediaries, I believe 20 years from now, we'll use blockchain like we use our smartphones today. Here's an interesting quote from a banking partner we work with. They believe blockchain will be the biggest change and disruption in cross-border remittance the world has ever seen. Just to summarize this graph, just here for anybody who would like to look in the data room, we're faster and clearly cheaper. We're literally 300 times faster than Bitcoin network at 1,000 times lower fees than Ethereum. Thank you.
Wow, excellent. Oh, gosh. Good. Fabulous.
No questions, thank you.
You know, Juan, you've been coming to the FTE since Dubrovnik, 2018. That's when we first met. You were in St. Moritz, you were in Athens, you were here, and so forth. What do you know about the FTE that some of the people, this is their first time, their maiden trip to the FTE. What do you know about the FTE?
It becomes a family. I think we all love traveling, and that's probably that's a great part, obviously, but like Giovanni, giving an example of all 4 times as one of the members I've got the fortunate opportunity to meet here. He gifted me a Hublot watch last night. It's a $10,000 watch as a friend. And the networks, the connections, the potential partnerships, I think as an entrepreneur, it gives you a lot more global vision to really scale your business and to connect with like-minded people. I've mentioned Roberto and Stefan's names a few times, but I think there's a lot of synergies for us to work with. I know we all, at the end of the day as entrepreneurs, we want the capital, but also the partnerships helps us to scale and grow our own businesses as well. And we're thankful and fortunate for people like Julie and the FTE in general for allowing that.
Good. Now, you know, people used to hear a lot about M-Pesa. M-Pesa was super hot, super sexy, and so forth. It's not died a death, but, you know, it's not perceived as having momentum today. Did you take a page out of the M-Pesa playbook, or was M-Pesa a cul-de-sac, and it was a cool thing, but it kind of has, it's kind of like stalled?
M-Pesa used the kiosk model to distribute, and they use SMS banking, USSD. I believe their timing was good in that environment, but if you look at Africa, the smartphone adoption rate is increasing by the day, and I don't think the technology would test time, but the great company, and we're in conversations to potential partner with them, as it's also a great entry point for us to offer other services to their 50 million clientele.
Okay. And the mobile airtime and using mobile airtime as a currency, that's clever. It is.
It definitely allows accessibility, and we're all fortunate and privileged sitting here, booking an Uber and just connecting our Visa or MasterCard. But not everybody has that privilege. And if you understand the landscape of Africa, Brazil, some parts of Asia, etc., everybody has access to mobile airtime. You got a $10 bill, $5 bill in your pocket. You can walk to the nearest kiosk, buy airtime. We can convert that to currency and include them in the financial global ecosystem.
But why hasn't somebody like WhatsApp or Facebook, or Meta, why haven't those services? We all have Telegram, we all have Signal. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they taking the rails of these global messaging networks and just applying a blockchain payment system on top?
Very good idea, a very good question, and I think most of them are trying that. If you look at Telegram more specifically, they also got their Tone Coin, and most of them are trying get in the banking system because they already got the distribution. On WhatsApp side, I know there's some we actually consider that as well, but there's security risks. So the moment you try and do it via WhatsApp, it's not that secure. You can effectively get hacked easily. So for that I think that's the biggest issue of that.
Okay. Questions? Questions for Juan? Blockchain payments? Yep.
Stefani writing a check.
Tose? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Any last parting thought, Mark?
100K. It's global, so it's very difficult to limit it. The same way any other blockchain base is peer-to-peer. That's the nature of blockchain. Although the entry and exit points we can limit via exchanges and other third parties, especially when people start on-ramping via Visa and MasterCard. There's obviously third-party providers handling the KYC, AML, FATCA, sanction regulations, etc. But there's always, unfortunately, ways around one. But in the entry point, there's definitely measures to comply.
Other questions?
Once again, we use the APIs of third-party providers. So we've got the majority of the telecoms in Africa. Over the Chi blockchain network. We're actually in conversations now with the CEO of MTN for distribution partnership, because actually if you think of M-Pesa, it was backed by Safaricom Telecom, and MTN is the largest in Africa. This could potentially open a lot bigger distribution for us.
We got Lavan, then we got Mark. Or Mark and then Lavan.
So I'm just asking about smartphone adoption on your 1 billion domains, because as I've observed it, South Africa, Lagos, Kenya, you see pockets where there's now beginning to be quite significant, but huge swathes, particularly of rural Africa, where it just isn't yet. And you've put your billion domains out. I'm just interested in the sort of your time scales and what you see is going to happen around the smartphone market in Africa, and Starlink or whatever to enable the connectivity.
Good question. If I might take a step back, telling the story of the internet. The early days, there's 300,000 verticals I can tell the story from internet, and that makes it difficult for me to tell the story out of blockchain. I think maybe I could have emphasized Africa too much in that story. But our gamers, to get to the 1 billion, remember we cater for 3 billion gamers as well. Everybody in the wallet and the remittance side, that is a completely different audience as well. So it's not just the 1.2, 1.4, whatever billion people in Africa right now. It is a global audience, but also your typical person has more than one bank account. He got more than one website potentially, whatever the case may be. Timeline on $1 billion, I would say 5 to 7 years. We've really got strong distribution. That's a conversation I would love to have with you afterwards. I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the airtime conversion. I think that's incredible. I think that's brilliant. And I'm just curious, are you actually tracking how much airtime is being bought and then converted rather than actually being used for talking minutes?
Good question. The honest answer is no, not yet, but we are a part of our BNI figures monthly basis. That's some of the data aspects we're looking into more. Our initial approach to converting the mobile airtime before we use the telecoms APIs was to become the market maker. And we had issues with the liquidity from the service providers at that stage. And then we approached Fonbank and realized practically it doesn't make sense. We need to have a phone online 24/7 in every country in the world for every service provider. And we took the next step of getting to the APIs of the telecoms, and we just connected that way. But to answer your question, that is something we definitely want to do, is to track the figures better, but not at this stage, unfortunately.
Would you please join me in thanking Juan Engelbrecht of VORTX Capital? Outstanding. Thank you. How many of you would like to break for lunch? Yes? Let's break and let's allow them to clean up the tables and so forth, freshen up, take a bathroom break, check your emails, your phones, whatever. I think the food will be obviously served over there, so you'll come on back in a couple minutes, and we'll take an hour for lunch. Thank you. You did a good job for coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning. I knew you could do it.